Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's July the 7th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And I hope everybody had a great July 4th holiday weekend, extended weekend. There was some pretty good movement, I guess, on that last day. You can see that. Actually, this was the 4th. This was the day prior. I actually took that Thursday off, so that would have been the 3rd, I believe, and that was this day. So there turned out to be some pretty good movement there. But anyway, we're more worried about today. But I hope everybody had a great holiday and enjoyed the time away. If you took off, and you can see it wasn't worth trying to trade for the couple hours the market was open on the 4th. Um, I mean, there wasn't 10 bars, so that was a waste of time. But today we've got two clear legs down. It looks like there's a bigger channel. Today was fairly straightforward. You can see there's your first leg, and I believe it's a perfect measured move. Looks like we actually went one tick further than a perfect measured move, and that would have been my target right there, to maybe exit. And only problem with going long is you had this you had this channel working down here, and this was the first break, and so you needed a good second entry long that never triggered until down here, and it may end up working, but I don't think that I would have taken that trade right there because we don't quite have a new low yet. So we'll see what happens, but it got really choppy from here on. But this is almost like two mirrored patterns. Look at this move down. You had the move down, the break, and kind of a choppy move down, and you got the move down here, your break, and kind of another choppy move down. So it's really almost a mirrored pattern, and a repeat pattern as we call them, and that might have given you a little bit of a little bit of incentive to try to hang on to this for this measured leg down. Uh, when it kept looking like we were going to go higher here, but I'll explain this, what was going on in my head when I get to this point. But let's back out and talk about the trades. And when I came in, there really nothing had set up. When I came in, prices were, and you might have thought about right here. This was really tempting to take, but there was no break of this little channel working down. It looked like it might have been going to be a trading range, but then you get this move down. But this was a measured move down in two legs. So, a really aggressive trader might have gone long there to ride that back to the EMA, and it would have worked. I'll go ahead and mark it in green, but, I think it's too aggressive to take. I think you're looking for shorts here. I thought the prices were going to set up for a nice short right here, and there really is kind of that's really like a second entry short right there, but because it's two inside bars and a doji, and this one closed almost on its high, I think you got to wait, and then you get the second entry short here, but by that time you're so close to the low, and again, you don't get a very good setup bar, but it is a second entry short, and prices are trending lower, and you are expecting a new low here, most likely because of the two legs down, the trend line break, and so you're expecting a couple of measured legs down, and just put this on there to show you. There's leg one, and so you're looking for a measured leg down, and you see we basically got that. Maybe even went a tick further. That looks like it's almost a perfect measured move. So based on that, aggressive guy may go short right there. I would tell you this, I would use a limit order. I would wait on the break and try to get a better entry on a limit order there if it were me. But then you get the failed second entry long, so I like going short there. And now it's going to push real quickly because they trap people to the long side. You don't want to go long right there out of that, and you definitely don't want to go long right there out of that. So just sit tight, and when it sets up the trap, just go short right there. Quick, easy move, quick, easy profit. And then now you've got your break and a new low, so you might, and you got a trend line working up here, so you're looking for a chance to maybe get long. And I went back and forth about whether or not to make this one blue or green. It's right on the border. but I'll explain to you what I was thinking, what I was seeing. You've got this trend line working up, but and generally you're going to want to see it fail twice to go lower. It went lower right there. First entry short pulls back, and you get a second entry short, and that's a pretty good setup. But we've already got, as far as the signal bar, I should say, but there's too much overlap there to really want to go short. So when it turned down and then turned back up, and you get this little rejection bar, I kind of liked going long there, figuring that we're coming back up to test the highs. At this point, I'm thinking, hey, it could be a trading range day, or we could start trending up, or we might just correct and then try to make another leg down because we may have a bigger channel. But until prices get up here, you don't know that. And even then, you really need a little more confirmation of the price action before you know, before that's a certainty. But we did get the break of this channel here, and we did make a new high with a little overshoot and a trap right there, and then another push higher that trapped people. It was tempting, and you really could have gone short right there. Aggressive guy might even go short right there, but you're probably going to get another setup if you do, and you probably wouldn't have been able to. Let's just see if you would have been able to scalp out of that one. If you entered on a stop, it'd been 73 and a quarter. No, you'd have missed that by a couple of ticks. But when it turns back up right there, guess what? Look at the new high. Pull back first entry long, pull back second entry long. It's pretty much two measured legs down. And so if you don't understand what's going on, you're not paying attention that you had your trend line, just like right here. If you're not paying attention, you get trapped long when you're not done short yet. And if you're not paying attention, you try to go long when the long move is over. And so you get a trap. Really, it's just not a very good long. So just kind of wait and see. And you may miss a trade here, but just wait and see. But when it turns up and then turns back down, now you got your failed second entry long. Go short right there. You don't know that it's going to take off like that, but that's the trade of the day so far. This move up and this move down were the two trades of the day. And even to this point, they're still the two trades of the day, and that's where most of your money was made. So if you miss these kind of trades because you're getting in, you're getting fooled on the wrong side, then you're just not really paying attention, or you're not reading it properly. And that's the key, is you got to read it properly, because you don't want to get trapped on the wrong side. And that's what I try to tell people. If you're just waiting patiently and you don't take the trap, yeah, you might watch it go without you, but by sitting tight and waiting and being certain, then you can see the traps. These traps are obvious, and that's where they usually happen, at the reversal points, and the fact that we got back under the EMA right there. And this couldn't close back above it. That's another clue. But that, along with the trap, and boy, off it went. And it got a little choppy once it made that big move down. But notice this right here. You can't go long yet because you've still got this trend line working. But notice this new high. There's a first entry long, a pullback, a second entry long, and there's a lot of support right there. So people are thinking it may bounce out of here, but if you're looking at the big picture, you may be realizing what's going on, and there's no reason, because of this little channel working down, to go long yet. We don't have a trend line, and you may get a trend line break without a new low, but you still don't have the trend line break yet, much less a new low. And it turns up right there, and then it can't go higher, so then you get a second entry short. And notice this, that's a low right there, move up, pull back. So that's like a two-legged correction back to the EMA, back to the trend line. It's a trap. Go short right there. But notice what happens. It gets hung up, and it's really struggling to go low, and it actually makes a new low right there and then bounces out of there. It was really tempting to dump this thing. And I almost dumped it a couple of times, but something said hang on. And when it turned up again and then turned back down, and especially when it turned up and then it ended up closing back below that trend line, that just gives you more confirmation that line is correct. So I like this to add on right here. And if you didn't exit right here, add on. And if you did exit, you still got a chance to get back in right here. This was it still took it just a second to work down, but nothing like it did when it got hung up there. And this is a breakout pullback short. It's a two-legged pullback to the EMA. It's a turn down with a long trap right off the EMA, the trend line. You got them both kind of working to your favor. So I liked it, and But if you didn't enter here, then there, as much as I wanted to enter here, I just don't think you can because it's just not a very good setup. The best you might do is wait on it to break lower right there and then drop a limit order in here, which would have gotten filled. But I think you're better to wait and see if you get another, they had to finally push it higher and trap some more people before they could get it through there. There's just some really strong support across here, and you can see that. And the market just got really dead from across here. Um, but, and then also you've got the perfect measured move that you were trying to work towards, and you pretty much got that. And then somebody sent me their chart, and they went long right here. Let me move this out of the way. There's not a very good long there. And they called this a second entry long. Counting off the low, you got your first leg up, pull back. And so it does kind of look like a second entry long, and maybe on a bigger picture it could have been, but it's not a very good setup. It did break lower first and then go out the upper side, but that's just a little doji that closed on its low. Okay, I'm sorry, I had a slight interruption there, but we were talking about this trade. But this is just the first, even with the break lower and the turn up, that's just the first entry long. But notice the trend line working up, and everything broke the trend line. So I would wait on a second entry, which I thought would come here and then maybe push up to a new high, but it never happens. And so you end up with a turning down here. And so I think most players would have probably taken a short right here because this is very likely trapped a lot of unsuspecting traders. In fact, I know it trapped a couple because they sent me an email on it. I want to know what they did wrong here. But notice what you're doing. This is mostly a downward bias day. This is the first break of this little trend line. Even though we are bouncing off the lows of the bigger channel, you'd be surprised. I mean, people probably don't see that bigger channel. And you're going long right here at these highs where all this resistance is. I don't have a line across there, but that's why I always tell you, put those lines on there. I can see it, but you can see how it will change things and make it easier to see when you put the line on there. So always draw your strong support and resistance lines, because look at that. So what you're doing is you're basically going long right into that resistance. It's just not a very good setup. And so no reason to go long there. You'd rather let it pull back and get a second entry long. But really, when it turned down, when it turned up like that and then turned straight down, I would have liked it better if it would have went straight on out. But you still could have just, aggressive traders probably going to go short right there. And that's the reason I got that marked, because they got people trapped. It broke the trend line. This trend line made an attempt at a retest, but found resistance where the strong resistance was and couldn't go any higher and turned down. And that was an easy move down. It pulled back just a second, but that's like a little congestion area, and so it's like a breakout pullback short. I don't think you want to go short right there because it's so close to these lows where it's bounced every time. But I think you're okay right there if you want to be aggressive, and it would have worked rather easily. So. And then you might have taken this second entry long. This is all set up since then, but I don't know if I would have gone long right there. I'll circle it as an aggressive type trade. And obviously it would have worked, but there's a good chance it pulls back to this midline and turns down and makes a new low before it goes higher. So, and I definitely don't think you want to go long right here. Definitely don't think you want to go long, even though it may work. It's just like right here, it's too risky. So I don't think you can go long right there. Not without some kind of double trap or, failed second entry short or whatever. So, but that's what I saw today. And again, there were two really good trades. There were some other easy scalps. And there were some more aggressive trades that you might have considered taking. But that's what I saw today. But I'm going to pause it just a second. Here's the chart the other trader showed me. And you can see he's actually reading it really well. He's got the same identical thing I've got. He doesn't have his midline right in here. But notice this is the first break, and he went long right there. Now, his setup bar looks better than mine, but it's still not really bullish. Notice this. When it broke lower and turned up and closed on its high, now if it would have broke above that bar, maybe, because that's a like a bullish reversal bar, but notice it never triggered. So, there's this would have been the second entry long if this would have turned down and then turned back up, and then you would have had two legs down and a real second entry long. Those matching highs break above that is like a second entry long. So I hope that, but that's what he was looking at, and I like his comment here. He says, I saw 3 previous trades. It didn't take any of them. And what happens is then you watch it go without you, and then you get in here, and there's nothing happening. So the first thing that looks like a setup, you get antsy on it, and you take it, and you're wrong. And I know this trader, and he tries to make 1 or 2 scalps a day, and that's all he's trying to work on right now, trading live. And he had 3 of them that worked easily that he just watched go by without him, and then he takes one that's iffy, and he gets trapped, and it's a loser. So that's my point here is that that's what happens to traders is they don't pull the trigger on the ones they see. They're trying to pick and choose, and then the one they finally pick, and I don't know what it is, but your mind will try to talk you out of the best trades, and it'll talk you into horrible trades. And it's just it's one of the MOs of trading. It's a mental. A lot of this is what we do is mental. It's a mental thing, and if you're not careful, you'll make mental mistakes. So, but anyway, thought I'd put his chart up there and share that with you. But he's reading it perfectly. He sees the channel working down. He doesn't have the midline. It doesn't matter. He sees the low of the channel. He sees the high of the channel, and that's the first break of the trend line. So what's generally going to happen? At least wait on the second entry, which would have been right here, that never comes, and then it turns down. And your second entry came right here instead. So notice that. Pull back, first entry, pull back. There's your second entry. And that's a nice reversal bar. This one looks a lot better on his chart than mine. So anyway, had he done that, he would have been okay. But he took the first entry, and generally, unless it's a real strong trend, and that would mean this thing's been trending up for a long time. That's the only time I'll take a first entry off a trend line like that, is if it's a real strong trend and it's real tight and it just keeps going higher and higher, and there's not room for second entries. Otherwise, I'm waiting on a second entry every time. I might miss a trade, but just like right here, you taking that second entry when it broke higher right there, you got trapped, and look what happens. The trade of the day. Okay, but that's pretty much it for today. I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll come back and we'll do this again tomorrow. So, but for today, that's it. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.